Welcome to Free MMO Station. My name is Skylent, and today we're going to play a new online action RPG, the successor to Mu Online, which is Mu Legend.
FreeMMOStation.com.
Hey friends, so let's jump into the game. This is not going to be a live first impression, which means I gave it a couple of hours actually, instead of the usual 24 live minutes that I normally do and just give my thoughts and opinions as I play. No, I let my thoughts and opinions kind of digest. I consumed the game. I let it sit, let it ruminate for a couple of hours. I did play it for a couple of hours as well, and I feel like I have a good grasp of what the game could potentially be. Now remember, it's still a first impression. I didn't get to play all of the games, and a lot of this is going to be kind of heated opinions, very opinionated opinions, if that makes sense at all. And yeah, I don't know, it might rub you the wrong way, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how I feel about the game Mu Legend, which is an online action RPG. I guess maybe you can call it an MMO, but really it's an online action RPG that is more in the style of something like Path of Exile, which is another free-to-play game, which is an amazing online action RPG, or, you know, like Diablo, you know, something. It's an action RPG. The thing is, though, is that Mu Legend has a very open sort of system, kind of, with the players. Now, I don't want to say it's like open world. It's very linear, enclosed areas, but you can still see other players running around, so it's open in that sense, but the game is extremely linear, like completely linear in every single way you can think about it. You run back and forth. You don't really do circles of any kind. You just run up and down, and sometimes it's like in the shape of like a hook, or it's like, you know, serpentine, but you're always going from point A to point B. There's not really many, if ever. I don't think I can recall a split track of any kind. It's completely perfectly linear. Now again, first impressions, but also I played for a couple hours. Now the footage you're seeing is actually taken from the stream. I actually got a lot of thoughts and opinions from people on the stream at my channel, Skylent Games. Go check it out, join the family, guys. And a lot of people said that, hey, it looked really good. They were asking me, do you think this is going to compete with Lost Ark, stuff like that? Because just graphically, it does look really cool. And if you're watching the gameplay, you probably are thinking the same thing. Effects are awesome. Mu was always known for that, you know, and action RPGs in general, it's just kind of cool to see, like, monsters and stuff just get fucked, if I could use that word. They just explode, man. You got these big, awesome abilities, and just explosions and body parts flying all over the place, which is always good about mature action RPGs. You got that, you know, those effects, you got the gruesomeness. It's spectacular. It's literally a spectacle. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. Here is my first complaint, though, is that even though as cool as it is to kill, you know, hundreds of monsters and creatures and peoples and demons and blobs and whatever the game wants to throw at you, as cool as that is, it's just not as cool when it's so easy. It's so mind-bogglingly easy. Now, in a similar game called Devilian, it was definitely too easy. In this game, I think for new players, it'll be really fun if you're completely new to action RPGs, if you're a younger player, an ignorant player maybe, who just, you know, has never really experienced a AAA action RPG, maybe like Path of Exile. Yeah, I think this might be the game for you, potentially. But if you're a veteran of, you know, and if you're looking toward like other action RPG, I think in the end you should keep your eyes set on games like Lost Ark, maybe Lineage Eternal as well. I think those are going to be more unique experiences overall, and they're probably going to give you a little bit more challenge and just be a little bit more worthwhile for your time. In this game, it doesn't seem like they really respect you, kind of. Like, you just really just walk through these linear maps. You just walk from point A to point B while just slaughtering hordes of enemies without even trying. Now, that is the open, you know, quotation marks, open world aspect of the game. And there's other players helping you out and all that good stuff. Like, it's really easy. What I would want, though, is that the open world actually be challenging, very challenging, have roaming boss monsters, which is, I mean, Terra kind of had these bossy monsters, and some other MMOs have elite monsters and champion monsters like in Guild Wars 2. I think that's really cool, where maybe the open world aspect is more tutorial-ish, you know, it's not super hard, but every once in a while there's a very hard obstacle that you need the other players to help you out with. But for the most part, the other players are just running around doing their own thing. It does not really feel like a social MMO whatsoever, and half the time, because there's mob tagging, they're actually just a hindrance. They just take your mob that you're going to kill, and I don't know, there's really no difficulty to the open world. So, yeah, that's it. You gain levels and everything pretty easily, but it's not like way too fast. It's not like it's AFK worthy, because when you actually level, you get to choose specifically what stats you want. I went all crit chance just because why not? So you specifically choose like physical damage, magical damage, support stats, defense stats. I chose crit chance, you know, as a stat. So I think that's really cool. It's not automatic like in World of Warcraft. But then again, it's not Path of Exile either, right? You guys remember Path of Exile's, customization with its like sphere grid-like system, the Glyphy thing. So that's pretty intense. And no, this game is not to that complexity. Itemization also, you get like no choice at the very beginning. And for my first impressions, I don't really have a choice. In Path of Exile, hell yes, I had choice. Instantaneously, I was able to mix and match abilities. Immediately, like literally in the first couple of minutes. So after a couple of hours, no, this game is extremely linear. In fact, when you do your literal tutorial, you have all of the abilities that you will probably ever have. They just kind of show you how actiony the game can be. And I guess that's kind of neat, but it's really not that inspiring. None of the abilities are super unique, like in Path of Exile, to compare directly to what I think is a really good action RPG. No, it's all kind of usual stuff. You have your spin-to-win sword guy. You have your paladin, which is really kind of like a dark paladin. You have your archer, and it's all the usual archer things. Rain of arrows, cone of arrows, machine gun of arrows. It's literally like all the abilities that you probably have played in some other game. It's nothing really fundamentally unique. Now, there is one class called, I forget what they call it, I don't know. It's not even in the game yet, but it looks freaking cool. It's got floating swords and floating weapons and stuff, and I think it's a supporty type of class. I want to play as that class. That looks pretty cool. But for the most part, every class is really just like, they can kind of solo the game, it seems. You have your paladin, which can, it's a paladin-y kind of thing. You got your sword guy, and sword guy get solo. But even the mages and even the archer characters, they can blink around and kite around, which is good. I want to say that is a really good thing. But being an MMO, and specifically this game is trying to market itself as an MMO, kind of, but it doesn't have like that party mentality. So in the end, every class is kind of OP. You can do everything, you don't need anybody, and you just, at the same time, the game is just inherently very easy itself. So you can just walk through everything without ever having to worry. And then if you do get in trouble, you do have potions to back you up, right? At least there is a very decent cooldown on the potions. Now, I did die a couple of times in the dungeon, but that was on the hardest difficulty. I still ended up running through that dungeon pretty fast. I one-shot it, so I didn't have to, go back to a main city. I didn't have to rethink my strategy. I died a couple of times, but no, I just kind of respawned, went right through it, and I beat it on the hardest difficulty. One-shot it. So, yeah, the game is pretty easy. And normally I do criticize games like this, these Eastern action RPGs, like Devilian, like Mu Legend here. They're easy, they're grindy, and they really focus on the grind, and I feel like for a younger audience, it could be cool, and if you wanted to play with like your little sister, brother, your little cousin or something, nephew, I don't know, your child, maybe you could introduce them to an action RPG like this. But then again, also, would you really want to? It's extremely sexualized and I don't know if tasteful. Then again, the 2D art is really good. Like, seriously, as a mature player who loves Eastern art, manhwas, mangas, anime, I really appreciate this art. It kind of seems like Tree of Savior-ish, kind of Final Fantasy-ish. I respect it. It is seriously good. But the in-game art itself is just really, basic. It's good. It's good. People on the stream said it looked good, but does it look Lost Ark good? Does it? Does it really? No, it doesn't. It looks like a free-to-play action RPG. Especially if you zoom in, I don't know. It's just an easy game, and it doesn't have as much depth as I would really want. It doesn't have the uniquity as a couple of other action RPGs that we've been playing lately. Where they mix MOBA and action RPG, or they have some other weird gimmick. This game, it's just very usual. It's very similar to Devilian in a lot of ways. And it's actually more similar to a lot of other games than it is different and unique and special, which kind of sucks. Coming from the background of Mu, I would expect something a little bit bigger and better. But at the same time, I will say that the game is, there were some bugs and there were some glitches, definitely, but it seems pretty polished. It seems kind of like it's not going to suck. It's not going to be a bad game. So that's good. It can definitely, from here, get a lot better. They can always tune the difficulty. Hopefully they will, because Western audiences like it that. But then again, who is this aiming for? What is the demographic this game is aiming for? Because I feel like a lot of people are going to eat this up. A lot of younger audience members in my stream were kind of really enjoying themselves. And honestly, I can't say I didn't have fun, because I did have fun on the hardest difficulty of a dungeon when I was a new player with barely any, anything. And yeah, the difficulty actually was there. The challenge was there, kind of. Still one-shot dungeon. That's when I had fun. Other than that, I wasn't truly having fun. I kind of was just existing and things were happening and monsters were dying. Yeah, that's how I felt. Now, if you're somebody who likes to play games like, Path of Exile, Diablo maybe, Dark Souls, then you're gonna maybe not like this game. Because it can be fun to grind. I play Warframe, I play Dragon Nest, I understand that there's a sense of grind, but there's not really the sense of mastery in this game. It's just like the grind just happens without you really. Anybody can do it. Any new player literally has never played an action RPG can jump into this game and feel like a god. And I don't know if I really like that, especially in an action RPG. If this was an MMO and maybe different genres, maybe I would feel that way. But I just feels a little bit uncomfortable. I don't have the true MMO aspects of the game, like Guild Wars 2, where you might be doing PvP, 5v5, or hundreds of people, or you don't have the social aspects of the usual MMO, the marketplace, running for resources, even the PvE, right? You don't have the endgame rating that I don't think right now. I haven't seen that, but from what I've seen so far, it doesn't seem that difficult at all. I don't think the difficulty is really there. I've leveled through a lot of different games, and yeah, I've done first impressions on a lot of different games, and this one, even though it seems a bit better, it seems more a mix of Western and Eastern action RPG, it still fundamentally is an Eastern action RPG, no matter what it looks like on the surface, and it's really just kind of a grind fest without actually maybe being fun. It can change, okay? That could just be the first impressions. Maybe they think that the new players are just dumb as shit. And, honestly, a lot of MMOs are hand-holdy. I mean, World of Warcraft went from being difficult to, what it is now, which is, like, super easy until endgame. Same thing with TERA. A lot of games, super easy in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they get fucking hard, right? So maybe this game is like that, because when I was playing the dungeon on the hardest difficulty, I was kind of having some fun. I kind of had that feeling of like when I was playing Path of Exile, when I was playing Dark Souls for the first time, learning the mechanics, mastering my character, learning the boss mechanics, though they were simple as shit. And it was basically like they just had big health bars, and they hit like a truck, but I could normally always dodge it, They always gave me ample time. It just wasn't, fundamentally, it wasn't difficult, okay? It wasn't that they didn't do a lot of damage. It wasn't like they didn't have a huge health bar. It's just fundamentally at a mechanical, the design point at a basic level, it just wasn't really difficult, okay? So if you're somebody who has played truly fun and difficult games like Path of Exile, potentially, and Dark Souls, you're not going to get a challenge out of this game. You're not. You're just simply not. So what I'm going to suggest you do is go play some Path of Exile, or wait until Lost Ark, potentially. Now, then again, Lost Ark is also an Eastern action RPG. We'll see how it's designed, because remember, Dark Souls was also designed in the East, but it's a Western action RPG. You guys understand those terminologies, and you understand the genre maybe a little bit better than I do, maybe you should actually correct me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about Mu Online. It's still a first impression. It's just, after a couple of hours, letting it ruminate, I just kind of feel it's a little bit too easy. It's definitely got potential, though. It really does. But since this wasn't an alpha, and this was a closed beta, I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed, but still, you never know. It could be really cool, and also it could just be fun to jump in and play if you have nothing else to play. If you're tired of Devilion or your other Eastern action RPGs, maybe Tree of Savior let you down, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, go jump into this game, go try it, but still, it's not going to be revolutionary. It's not going to be really that different, okay? It's not going to be Lost Ark. So, yeah, maybe it'll tide you over, but you're still going to have to wait for a real online action RPG. That's kind of how I feel. Sorry to be so harsh. In the end, I still had fun. I still had fun. I think there is fun to be had here if you play solo and you play on the hardest difficulties possible. If you play with a group, you will just walk through the whole game. You can probably just walk through the whole game regardless, as long as you put it on normal. So, yeah, that's it, guys. That's the end of my first impression. Hopefully you understand my honest opinions about the game. And I think it is pretty cool, some of the aspects of the game, but they're just not really that different. Anything I could really say that's like a bonus to the game, anything that I could say is a positive, has really been done in other games in the exact same genre better. So it's not a bad game, it's just not really different or great. So that's it. Thanks for watching. My name is Skylent. This video was brought to you, and thanks by Free MMO Station. Like and subscribe. Hope you have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.